Welcome to episode 23 of the Galen Trombley Show. Ellie, how you doing tonight? Sorry,
Oh, Ellie.
and Galen. Yeah, it's been a while. So, actually, it hasn't been a while. My mind, yeah, just a week, just a week. How you been, Ellie?
Good.
Good?
Yeah.
Nice day out?
Nice day out. Moving in.
That's right. Oh, we didn't have a topic, but now we have a topic.
Oh, we have a second topic.
Give us your topic, and then I'll talk about our other topics. So go ahead.
I bought a house. That's my topic. I'm moving in this
That's
weekend.
cool.
Yep.
So you guys moved in yet?
No.
Like Philly?
We got the keys Wednesday night and have been moving boxes here or there, but we don't have a truck till Saturday. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, you guys have actually been in the house and like walked around. It's like cool. It's exciting.
It's awesome. The dog doesn't care for the backyard, but
Oh, really?
he just wants to hang out with us. I thought he would be excited to run around, and he just sat by the door staring in while we were unpacking.
Okay. Well,
He's a big baby.
that's good. Well, I can't wait for the housewarming party. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
So, no, that's super exciting. I knew, obviously, we were looking forward to that. You guys were looking forward to it, but collectively, all of us were there in spirit. But that's always exciting to have your own place. It's kind of like the big adult move that you're like, wow, this is cool.
Yeah.
The best part about owning your own home is that you can do anything you want to it. But like, when you're a kid and your parents made you do certain things, like
Yes.
cleaning and this and that. I mean, yes, I clean, but I'm saying like you can just do stuff when you want to do it. It's not like it has to be. There's not a hard deadline on when you got to like wash the dishes. If you wash
John
the
gets
dishes,
real mad if I don't wash my dishes.
but I'm saying like I wash the dishes. Like the dishes gotta be washed before night. But like
Yeah.
it's one of those deals like you don't have to be washed at like 5 or 6 o'clock.
And
If
if
you
you
want to wash
leave
them
it
at like
last by
7,
your
if you
bed,
want to
it's
wash,
fine.
yeah. Well, no, I actually am neurotic on that too. I pick it up. I don't leave stuff on my end table. So like I try not to.
But you need to have a glass all night by your bed.
I do. I bring a cup of water next to me.
Oh, okay.
But I always bring it back into the kitchen in the morning, and I usually just leave it on like our island because I don't like waste. If it's a glass of water, you don't need to like.
Rewash it.
Rewash
I just
it.
use a shaker bottle because I knock stuff off.
Well, that's the other one too. I just have a shaker bottle which just goes to the gym in the morning with me because that way I don't have to wash 2 dishes. So I think I still have a little bit of like that college lifestyle where you don't want to wash multiple dishes, but
Conserve water.
yeah, we'll go with
Pro
that.
environment.
We'll go with that. All right. So topics today, we have 2 of them. We had a loyal fan reach out to us on Instagram, and the 2 topics that he would like to hear about. First one is explain. I'm going to put it in how he said it, and then I'm going to kind of adjust it a little bit. But he said explain how real estate has changed in the past 20 years. I can kind of talk a little bit about it, but I'm going to go more on what it's been like the last like 9 to 10 years since I've been in it. But first off, in the past 20 years, we're going back to, 1999? So I was 3rd or 4th grade at the time, so I was a little kid. But taking that into consideration, my dad has been in it for a long time. I just remember the early 2000s, and of course, coming from stories of current agents that have been around for a long time, or my dad kind of talked about that back then everything was just like crazy. There were so many homes selling and buying and things like that, and obviously our economy was very good at the time.
Yeah.
Probably too good, which is why we've had kind of a little bit of a bubble in 7 and 8. But basically, what happened was we had very high home prices, we had the record amount of sales, things like that. Well, 2007-8 came along, that totally tanked. And I say totally tanked. I mean relative to the area it did. Obviously, relative to nationally, we weren't as bad as some major places in the area. You start going like Florida and Las Vegas and Detroit and all these places that really got hit hard. We weren't that extreme.
Yeah.
We usually our peaks aren't as drastic as other places in the country, but relative to our normal area, took a big drop. I came in January of 2011. January 2011 is like basically my first official month.
Mm-hmm.
We were at the very low end of that. It was definitely a buyer's market. Meaning that there was a ton of homes for sale, which is opposite. We'll get to that, I guess, but opposite what we see now. Ton of homes for sale. Not a lot of people that could afford them because they had been so used to the old lending practices, which were no more, and they got much more stricter.
Yeah.
So I came in very much a buyer's market. You could go see multiple houses. You could see them the next week. You could see them the next month. They're still in the market. And prices slowly dropped because people had to get out from under their homes. We saw more foreclosures, more short sales. So every year since 2011, so the past 9 years, we have been climbing in price. We have been climbing in the amount of buyers that can afford homes, and we have been decreasing the amount of people selling their homes. And that really, that balance, that buyer's market shifted into a seller's market, I'd say about a year and a half. We started seeing it probably close to 2 years ago, but I'd say about a year and a half to a year ago is when we really kind of definitely flipped the tide on there, flipped the, the switch on that. And now we're in what we call a seller's market, meaning that there's not a lot of homes for sale. A lot of buyers are now used to the guidelines and practices and things that you need to have done in order to get a loan. That's now become the new norm. Anybody that's buying their first home, like, you've never known anything different, so you're comfortable at it. Where people back that were trying to buy in 2008, 9, 10, 11, it was new to them. Like, crap, we gotta now start saving up, so that pushed things back a few years. So we've seen it now switch to a seller's market. So I guess from a inventory price standpoint like that, that's what has changed. Now, this is going to segue into the second part, but the second question you had was, what does the future look like in real estate when it comes to technology? So I'm going to kind of transition into that. How has technology changed in the last 9 years? When I first came in, Zillow and Realtor.com and all those sites, they might have been in the infancy. Nobody was using them up here. MLS was still big. We still had a lot of people doing open houses. We still had a lot of people doing caravans where the offices would drive around and everybody would look at the houses and they would, see if it matched up with their clients.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think it was Thursdays, offices would travel, or Tuesdays, something like that. Offices would travel around. They'd get in 1 or 2 cars or vans. They would drive around, go to a bunch of different listings and preview the homes. It was an office preview.
Whoa.
Yeah, and that used to be a big thing back in the day. And when I got in up until probably 5-6 years ago, it really dropped to there was only 2 offices that I know that really did caravans, and nobody does those anymore. It's useless. You have 24-hour open houses online. Everybody knows everything about your home. They see every room of the house. There's no reason to have to go to the house to preview it to see, do you think my client would like it? You certainly can. I don't have time to do that, and I'm sure most agents don't want to waste their time going to a bunch of homes that most people can find online. And to be honest, I go into a lot of homes anyways, so I guess I'm kind of previewing homes by default just because I have showings with clients, so which is fun. It's nice to know the inventory out there because I'm already going to the house with the client. But technology-wise, we've seen a huge shift, and I'm very active on social media. I would say as one of I still think I'm ahead of the curve in social media.
Absolutely.
And I think that when I first got into social media and Facebook and business pages, I think I might have been the first one to have a Facebook business page. And if I wasn't, I was the first one to consistently use their Facebook business page.
Yeah.
And I try to stay ahead of the curve in marketing and things like that. But back 5 years ago, I knew where marketing was heading. I knew where marketing was heading. So I've tried to stay up on that and try to be kind of a forward thinker on that. And Instagram, I've been able to capitalize on that. I'm always tweaking. I have a few things now I'm testing out to see if they work. Part of it's podcast, see if it works. Part of it is today Jordan is following me along all day. We're kind of doing a little bit of a day in the life. I'm going to see how that works. That might tank, it might be awful, but I'm going to try it. Yeah. And if it works, cool. It's actually been kind of fun. Besides, Jordan hasn't been able to go out and tan today because it's super sunny. That's all right. Should be fine. But technology-wise has shifted completely into that aspect. Now you're starting to see drone footage. That used to be kind of a taboo thing. I would say a handful of agents, use drones here and there. I used one the other day. I'm showing a house tomorrow. Another agent who's been around for a long time, she's got a house that has drone footage, and I'm not finding those because now they're more commercially available, or more, I say commercial, but people can buy drones.
Yeah.
Personalized drones and stuff, and you get your license and fly them. So that's like a new technology that's now becoming kind of the norm. But a year or two ago, that might have been like the hot new thing. Now it's still new, but it's not as new as what we were seeing before.
Yeah.
There's other cool things that people are doing, but I think technology has shifted and things are better. Things are more accessible. Like this microphone podcast setup, I didn't spend an arm and a leg to get it. I do have some money invested in it because they are good mics and good recording systems, and I didn't go cheap on it, but I also wasn't dropping a boatload of money on it. So the fact that I can buy this stuff very, very easily
Yeah.
and have it, shipped to me and get it set up and be podcasting within a week of purchasing is pretty cool. Same thing with technology. Like, I mean, the fact that we can film on a phone in 1080, or even actually you can film in 4K on the new iPhones.
Holy cow, really?
Yeah, I think that Jordan's phone's actually really nice. But and I got a mic that's a directional mic, not these mics. When you guys watch it on Facebook or YouTube, the mic I'm using is a high-end directional mic, so it's a shotgun mic kind of thing, so it picks up sound better than the actual phone. Well, the phones, I mean, obviously they're not as good as a $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 camera or more, but they do the job.
Yeah.
And you weren't doing that. I mean, when I first got a phone, I was using a flip phone,
Yeah.
and phones without
The
cameras,
Razr.
all these crazy things. But so technology has leaps and bounds in 9 years, and the fact is, every year technology gets more.
Exponentially better.
Compounded and
Absolutely,
exponential.
yeah.
Where is technology heading? I've heard of things like VR, virtual reality. People like putting on, glasses or whatever, and they can film around and actually physically like walk through the room like they're at the showing, but they're not actually at the showing.
Yeah.
I've heard other things about and different ideas. I wouldn't say technology, but different ways that offices are going without offices, meaning that your virtual offices, meaning agents kind of work in a virtual world.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure any agent out there has gotten emails on doing this, 100% commission, and then, but obviously there's catches. You pay this, you pay that, you pay this and that. But there's different ways things are doing it. It usually typically catches on in the cities and migrates out towards us a few years later. But I think always the big thing is with technology, because you talk about like, Whole Foods having automatic scanners and pricing that you don't need cashiers. I don't think real estate is going to lose agents. I think it's an industry where we're not going to be replaced as agents. I think a lot of the stuff we do is going to be replaced.
Yeah.
Things will become more efficient. But at the end of the day, buying and selling homes, there's so much human emotion and human conditions that are in a home that I find it so funny when people look at the Zestimate. Like, the Zestimate is about as ridiculous as I mean.
It's not. Yeah.
It's stupid.
Ridiculous.
And then I've heard agents that use comps for homes that they put it in a computer program and they spit out a number and they use it and they factor that's the number the house is worth. It's like, guys, there's so much more involved in homes, in pricing, in conditions, in strategy, because there's such a human element in everything that we do, that I think using sites like that or going off a Zestimate is like the lazy, easy way out. That kind of, to me,
It's flawed.
well, to me, it just means like you probably don't know what you're doing that well, because I think there is an art to pricing homes. There really is, and I've studied it, I've practiced it, experience here, good, bad. I just came from one. We're actually going to another one late tonight. We have these conversations with people, and a lot of it is, I literally sit there and do I know the number before going? 99% of the time, I don't know, because I need to know literally every single thing that I can get from that seller for information. I got to get exactly why they're moving. I got to get their why they're moving. I got to get, anything that you can think of that would factor into a home price. I have to sit down and have a conversation, discuss everything, so I'm on the same page. I can maximize what they can do to sell the property. I can make sure I know the correct strategy to sell their home and move them into the next home, or downsize, or rent, or travel, or whatever. Technology cannot do that.
Yeah.
So I think technology is going to replace inefficiencies, which is great. It's going to make things more efficient. It's going to make things more user-friendly or aesthetically pleasing to buyers and sellers. I don't think it will ever replace agents. Brokerages have to change. I think our office, I truly believe, is at the forefront of that. I think I'm very progressive in the way that I think we're going to run the company. And I like that, and I think that's going to shift a lot in the future. I also really think that us being an independent company, I truly believe that you're going to see a major downfall of franchises in the future. Not to say next year or the year after, but I don't think you're going to see the big name franchise owners that you see. They're not going to have as much relevancy as it was before. I think real estate is very much an individual effort for thing. Obviously, the brokerage supports, and that's what we try to. That's kind of the business model that I've tried to establish, and also compensating agents for what they bring to the table, meaning
Yeah.
they should be compensated more than what they've been paid in the past. And I think a lot of that I think is going to be cool. So I think technology is only going to help us, and I'm very bullish on good technology as being a partner, not an enemy. So yeah, I think that's how real estate is changing or will be changing. So
Yeah.
I know we got to run. We're going to cut this short very briefly, but I think those were good topics.
Yeah, I think so.
So thank you to our loyal listener Larry, who gave us the great topics. If you guys actually, no, seriously, if you guys, there's anything that you guys want to know, and we're always open to hearing new topics and going off and kind of going, it gives me something to talk about that maybe I'm like, oh, that's actually a really good thing. I didn't even think about that. Those are two
Yeah.
phenomenal topics, and
Yeah.
I think we gave some good information there. So yeah, we're going to cut off there because we're both going to be late to our next showing. So for
Ellie.
and Galen, that is episode number 23 of Realty Talk. We will see you all next week. Bye.